Next tonight, Americans are feeling the pinch of rapidly rising prices at the supermarket. The spike is being caused by a combination of factors, but when will it end?
Ever felt that food is getting too expensive these days? For your information, that is a fact and not your imagination. In this video, we'll discuss the 7 items that could go from bad to worse pricing. Make sure you watch this video to the end because we have a solution for you. Have you ever imagined your favorite food being so expensive that you cannot buy it anymore? Yes, that is exactly what we are getting into. The cost of food has increased at the grocery shop. According to recent data, Americans are spending 10.4% more on food than they had a year prior. Food manufacturers attempted to devise a controllable method that would enable them to service customers during the initial lockdowns. Food growers, processors, and distributors needed to modify packaging, following new labeling regulations and satisfy increased demand from food shops. Due to these factors, food prices are expected to increase further in the next few days. Now let us look at the food items that are expected to go up in pricing. Dairy. Are you a fan of dairy products? Then this might come as a shock to you. The FAO's Dairy Price Index grew by roughly 6% in February, a 6th consecutive monthly increase, while the price of meat only increased by 1%. Dairy has witnessed the highest increase in costs for consumers worldwide. Local reports suggest this tendency is also present in the United States, where milk and other dairy products have seen the biggest price increases this year. While price roses from month over month in all 6 major food categories in February, which range from packaged baked goods to non-alcoholic beverages, dairy witnessed its biggest monthly gain in more than 10 years. In the current scenario, when it comes to drinking, nothing is cheaper than water from the tap. However, milk is a staple food and we have some substitutes like dry milk and yogurt. Breakfast cereals. Now, who doesn't like a bite of a spoonful of Rice Krispies or Reese's Puffs early in the morning? The increasing cost of breakfast cereal may partly be attributed to inflationary forces, such as the rising price of flour and other ingredients. The COVID-19 pandemic has also increased the cost of transportation and labour. One option to cut breakfast costs is switching from cold cereal to muesli. Oatmeal's high fibre content may help you feel fuller for longer, and the price per serving is often lower. Choose old-fashioned rolled oats or quick oats over the fast kind for the best health results and pocketbook results. Roasted coffee. Are you a person who needs a strong cup of coffee to get over your morning drowsiness? Prices for that early morning boost have been rising recently. Due to drought and subsequent frost, Brazil's coffee crop has been curtailed for 2022-2023. Other factors contributing to the price increase include labour and supply chain difficulties. Land, water, and fertilizers are all essential components of the labour-intensive process of growing coffee. Farmers of coffee might have to raise their prices to pay their costs if the cost of these inputs rises. Changes in currency can also impact the cost of coffee. Since most coffee is traded in US dollars, the price of coffee may rise when the dollar value falls. This is due to the possibility that countries that produce coffee will have to raise their prices to offset the drop in the dollar's value. Instant coffee might be more economical than roasted coffee while not tasting the same. While the price of roasted coffee has increased by 15.5%, instant coffee costs have increased by 10.8% according to the BLS. Eggs. We got bad news for all the fitness enthusiasts there. Guess what? Your daily protein goals are at stake. When it comes to price hikes, no food can match eggs. This breakfast and baking staple has seen a price increase of almost 60% in the past year. The cost of fuel and inflation are only 2 examples of the many variables driving up egg prices. Additionally, the avian flu affected 58 million birds last year, reducing egg supplies. Aside from wild birds mixing with domestic poultry flocks, the avian flu virus can also spread through infected gear and clothing. The declining flocks contributed to an increase in egg prices that, in some places, virtually tripled. The costs of preventing avian flu have taken their toll as well. Despite farmers' efforts to stop the spread of the virus, researchers warn that it may resurface in the spring when wild birds migrate across the United States. Eggs are easily to substitute in baking, but not so much for scrambled eggs. Instead of eggs, substitutes like applesauce, bananas, or more oil can be used. However, you'll have to compromise a bit more of authenticity. Tofu can replace eggs in dishes like scrambles and burritos for breakfast. Flour. Do you bake when you feel stressed or have a lot in mind? Seems like your stress relief might be getting expensive. The world's wheat supply is largely produced in Ukraine, and flour prices have increased since Russia invaded the nation. For both professional and home bakers, that is terrible news. The three main types of wheat grown in the United States are hard red winter, hard red spring, and soft red wheat. The first two classes are grown in the South and Central states, particularly in Colorado, Kansas, Montana, Nebraska, South Dakota, and Texas, which have endured significant drought conditions over the past year. The USDA reports that a staggering 75% of the nation's wheat crops are being produced in drought-like conditions due to this pervasive drought. This means that a significant portion of the wheat harvest in America is dying, and the crops that do survive the heat are frequently of low quality or inedible. Indeed, wheat production in the United States has reached a new low this year. Additionally, prices tend to soar whenever a certain commodity is continuously scarce. Since most alternatives to flour are more expensive, replacing it can be difficult, but Naninga proposes making oat flour from whole oats as a less expensive option. Possibly cutting back on home baking is a better approach to saving money. Even with rising flour costs, making baked goods is probably less expensive than buying them from the supermarket. Butter and margarine. When you have nothing at home except a loaf of bread, you go for the simplest spreads, but they ain't so simple anymore, as you'd get pretty shocked on seeing their prices. Butter and margarine prices have increased dramatically over the past year, among other inexpensive kitchen essentials that have seen price increases amid the harshest inflation in 40 years. According to the Consumer Price Index, butter prices increased by 31% between November and December, while margarine costs increased by 44%. According to producers, the Russian invasion of Ukraine has hampered the production of vegetable oils like soybean or sunflower, which are the key components of margarine. Prices for butter are also substantially driven higher by supply problems. The amount of milk needed to make butter has decreased due to the coronavirus epidemic, which caused many dairy farmers to substantially deplete their herds. Oil is a natural substitute for butter in many applications, including baking and sautéing. You can also use oil to make the butter you have last longer. Additionally, cheese can be used in place of butter. Canned fruits and vegetables. An apple a day keeps the doctor away, but right now it seems as if regular checkups at the hospital are cheaper than buying apples for a month. There is no single obvious factor for the increased price of canned fruits and vegetables. However, shipping costs and tariffs may play a part. Although still a very inexpensive way to fill a pantry, these items' prices have increased by more than 18% over the past year. One way to think of canned food is as a food preservation method involving sterilizing and sealing food in various sealed containers. Many canned items include fruits and vegetables, candies and desserts, grains, sauces, pasta, soups and beans. The use of canning contributes to the preservation of the veggie's nutritional content. Improvements in canning technology as a result of increased research and development in food processing processes and facilities, as well as expanding distribution network for canned food items and the long shelf life of canned fruits and vegetables are some of the key factors anticipated to drive the canned fruits and vegetables market's growth. High canned product packaging costs may limit the growth of canned fruits and vegetables. Those who want to reduce this cost may be able to buy locally farmed seasonal produce. If you want the convenience of the product to last longer, you can purchase fresh fruits and vegetables and freeze them yourself. Before freezing, just make sure they are completely dry. Some veggies require fast balancing in hot water for optimum results. You may find more detailed instructions on freezing any fruit and vegetable you have available online. That's all for today. So what are your plans to counter this? Let us know in the comments. Hope you liked the video. If you did, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell to never miss a single update. See you shortly, and goodbye until then.